Hey guys, it's Mary, and I'm so sorry I haven't uploaded a video lately. It's just been kind of a hectic couple of months with the holidays and traveling, visiting family and stuff, so it kind of got away from me doing booktube and uploading videos. So today I'm going to be doing my November and December wrap-up videos because I never uploaded a November one. So let's get started. So the first book I read in the month of November was The Mark of Athena by Rick Riordan, and this is the third book in the Heroes of Olympus series. And the Heroes of Olympus is like the next series after Percy Jackson. So I'm not going to talk about what this book is about because I don't want to give away anything, but so this series kind of follows Percy Jackson and a couple other new characters that we meet in this series, and instead of just focusing on the Greek gods like in Percy Jackson, we also get to now see the Roman gods in this series, which I thought was really cool. And I loved this book. I think I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, so I think this is my favorite in the series so far. And I can't wait to finish this series, and I love mythology, so I love these books and I love Rick Riordan, so you guys should definitely pick up this series if you haven't already. The next book I read in the month of November was Trial by Fire by Josephine Angelini, and this is the first book in the World Walker trilogy, and it's like a fantasy trilogy about a girl named Lily who is allergic to everything, and she's like very sick. She's in and out of the hospital all the time, and she lives in Massachusetts, and so she has this really embarrassing incident at a party one night, and she's like just really down about it and really upset, and next thing she knows, she's getting transported back in time by a witch named Lillian, and so it's about her kind of discovering what the world is and why she's been sick in our world where she used to live, and so I love this book. I think I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I thought it was a really good start to a trilogy, and I'm really excited to continue on when the next books come out. The next book I read in November was The Vicar of Wakefield by Oliver Goldsmith, and I read this book for a British Lit class that I was taking this past semester. So this book is about a vicar and his family who fall on hard times, and they have to like uproot their lives and move, and every misfortune that can happen to somebody seems to happen to this family. One of his daughters is taken captive, and he is sent to jail, and a whole lot of stuff happens to this poor man in this book, but I thought it was really, really good. It was a very like sweet book. It was kind of slow at first, but I ended up really, really liking it in the end. About like halfway through, I really started getting into it. The first half though, I hated it. I thought it was, I was having a really hard time reading it, but about halfway through, I actually really started to like it. I think I gave it a 3.5, maybe 4 stars on Goodreads. But yeah, I didn't like the first half, but the second half was really good. But it was nice to kind of read a classic for a change instead of like just reading all like YA or adult books that are out now. But so it was really nice to kind of read something older. So this book was good, but kind of slow. And the last book I read in the month of November was Gregor and the Code of Claw by Suzanne Collins, and this is the 5th and final book in the Underland Chronicles. And this was my favorite book out of the whole series. I've been talking about this quite a lot in my videos lately on BookTube. I absolutely love this series. It's a middle grade fantasy series, and it is about a boy who falls through a grate in New York in his apartment building, and him and his little sister, and it's about them kind of seeing this new world and everything, and it's so good. This book made me cry, and I was so sad when it was over. I wish that there was more with this book, but sadly there's not. But you guys should really read this series. I think everyone should read it. It's just a fun, easy series and really cute and sweet, and I really like the relationship Gregor has with his two little sisters. He's very sweet to them, and I just thought that was like a really nice touch in the book. And yeah, I love this series. I really want to talk to Suzanne Collins about it. I have so many questions. I think that's Suzanne Collins' way of ending a series, is she just wants you to think about the book, and so she leaves you to decide what happens to some of the characters, and I just want to know what she thinks happens to them, but I'm sure it's up to the reader to decide. But yeah, it's a really, really good series, so you guys should read it. Then in December, the first book I read was Cress by Marissa Meyer, and I started this book in November, but I didn't finish it till December. This is the third book in the Lunar Chronicles, and this book was really, really good. I think I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Maybe a 4.5 out of 5 stars. But yeah, I really like this book. I still think Cinder is my favorite book out of the series. I know a lot of people say this one is their favorite book, but I really, really liked Cinder. I think because Cinderella is one of my favorite princesses. But yeah, I kind of found Cress a little bit of annoying. I think she's kind of funny. She's like your typical fangirl nowadays, which is totally my little sister. She's like such a fangirl of like all these celebrities, and Cress is kind of that way with Carswell. Maybe that's kind of why she annoyed me, just because I sometimes get annoyed with like people who are just so obsessed with celebrities. But I did really like this series. I especially loved the ending. I cannot wait to pick up Winter. So when that comes out this fall. And then we also have Fairest, which is coming out I think like in a week or 2 weeks, which is Queen Lavanna's story. So it's like a prequel to the series. But yeah, I did really, really like this book. And if you guys haven't picked up this series yet, you really should, because it's so good and so exciting. It's like a sci-fi dystopian retelling of some of the like Grimm fairy tales, so you guys should really pick up this series as well. After that, I read The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, and I read that on my iPad, which I don't have with me right now, but I have it on iBooks. So I gave that book a 4 out of 5 stars, I think, and I really liked it. I thought it was a really good start to the trilogy, and it is a dystopian kind of sci-fi trilogy, and it is about a girl, Ruby, who lives in a time in the world where a like disease has broken out, and kids between like the ages of like 9 and 16 are hit with a disease that it either kills you or it gives you kind of these powers. And so the ones that survive that have these powers are sent to concentration like camps, and Ruby in the beginning of the book is in one of those camps and is broken out by a member of the League, which is a group who is against the government and is against all of these concentration camps. And so the first book is about Ruby and her kind of finding out what is going on in the world, because she's been in these camps for about 6 years. And so it was a really good start to a trilogy. I thought the middle was kind of slow a little bit, but I did really, really enjoy the book, and I'm so excited to continue on with the series. And then after I finished The Darkest Minds, I wanted to keep reading in that world, so I bought In Time, which is also by Alexandra Bracken, and it is a novella between The Darkest Minds and Never Fade, which is the second book in the trilogy, and it follows a new character that we haven't met in the first book, and one of the characters that was in the first book. And I don't want to spoil anybody about who it is if you haven't even read the first book, but I thought it was a really cute short story. I really, really liked it, and it made me want to hurry up and pick up the second book. But I didn't have the second book at the time, so I didn't get to read it yet because I wanted it for Christmas, and this was all before Christmas. So I couldn't go out and buy it, which really killed me because I really wanted to read it. But I loved In Time. I think I gave it like a 5 out of 5 stars. But yeah, if you guys haven't read this series, you really should pick it up. It's really, really good. Then after that, I picked up Memoirs of a Teenage Amnesiac by Gabrielle Zevin. And I absolutely loved this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and it's like the cutest, like contemporary. It's about a girl named Naomi who gets into an accident at school and loses all of her memories from like the past 5 or 6 years. And it's about her kind of trying to remember her life and remember all the people around her and all the major events that have happened in the past couple of years and her dealing with it. But this was like one of the cutest books I've ever read. It was just so adorable. Like, I love Gabrielle Zevin's writing. I just want to pick up all of her books. I just couldn't get over it, like how good this book was. I was like laughing like out loud constantly. And one thing I really did love is that one like major thing in this book is Naomi's best friend gives her these CDs all the time, and in the back of the book she has like the full playlist for all the different CDs and some of the songs that inspired her for this book. So I thought that was like a really cool like added to the book to have. But yeah, this book was just really cute. I think it's like a really good book if you're like in a reading slump, because it's a really quick read. I read it in like one day in one sitting. So if you're having a hard time finding like a book to read, I definitely recommend picking this one up to get you out of a reading slump. And the last 2 books I read in December, I don't know if you can even count as books, but they are children's picture books that I read with 2 little girls, family friends of mine, that we had over on New Year's Eve. And they wanted to read a book because they were kind of getting bored on New Year's waiting for the ball to drop. So I let them pick out 2 books. And so first book we read was St. Brendan and the Voyage Before Columbus. And so this is a book about St. Brendan, who was from Ireland, and he made a trip over from Ireland to the Americas in a leather boat. That's kind of what he's famous for. So it's just like a cute little picture book all about his life and everything. And it was on Goodreads, so I decided to count it towards my book goal so that way I could get a couple more books before the end of the year. The last book that the girls and I read was The Magic School Bus Makes a Rainbow, a book about color. And this was just about Miss Fizzle teaching all the kids in her class how a rainbow is made. And I mean, you can tell it's old, it's from when I was a kid, but it was a cute little book and the girls really enjoyed it. So yeah, this was also on Goodreads, so I decided to count it towards my goal as well. So in 2014, I read 35 books, which was totally behind what I thought I was going to read. I did plan to read 100, but that was like halfway through the year when I made my Goodreads, so I didn't think I would get to that. But I was really happy with 35. So in the next year, in 2015 now, I'm hoping to read 50 books. So there we go. Those are all the books that I have read in the last 2 months. Stick around for more videos, and I promise I will be uploading more soon. I have a lot of videos that I want to do, so I might be uploading for the next couple of days. So I will see you guys then. Bye!